Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Vivian Reed now. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to like. And I always say nice things, okay? All right, so today we're not dealing with singing and dancing and all of that. We're gonna go behind the scenes because these people are very important. People who dress you, people who work in wardrobe. Oh yeah, I can pull up that zipper and I can button that shirt. If you think that's all there is to that, you better think again. Now, this video is for those people who are not singers or dancers and they don't wish to be, but like they want to be involved in theater. So we're going to talk to a young lady who does exactly that. She does wardrobe. She dresses people, and some of her shows, A Great Comet of 1812, which I absolutely love, Inherit the Wind, Betrayal, and she's also been part of a lot of Rod Stewart's concerts. So I welcome Andrea Gonzale. How you doing, Andrea?
Hi, Vivian. How are you?
I am fine. So now listen, for someone wanting to come into this behind the scenes, to become involved in the wardrobe of plays and movies and all of this, and to dress someone, what do they need to know? Because it is simply not simple as zipping up a zipper and buttoning up a jacket or shirt.
Absolutely. It's actually more complicated and much more skills oriented, and also not as glamorous as
not as glamorous.
Basically, the more skills you have as a sewing skills, all those kinds of things, practical sewing skills, using a home machine, using an industrial machine, hand sewing skills, all of that is one aspect of what wardrobe is about. The other aspect is kind of like knowing how to read the room, being calm under pressure. Wardrobe is a very high intense, long hours process. And it requires like a stop and go with the flow mentality. You're thinking on your feet quite often. You're problem solving as you go, right in the minute. And you're working under tremendous pressure. Every minute that goes by that a quick change isn't resolved is a minute more where everyone's just like, so this is costing money if you can't figure this out.
Yep.
And what happens if, a zipper breaks? That happens if buttons fly off, if hooks fly off. What's also different than, let's say, fashion versus wardrobe. Fashion is ready to wear, and wardrobe is redoing closures so that you can make a quick change. So it looks like you're wearing regular clothes or even period clothes or something like that, but you often take off all that, what we call hardware, which is called buttons and even zippers or whatever. We'll replace a zipper with Velcro so that you can make a quick change. We'll replace buttons. We'll put a button on the front so it looks like a button.
But it's really not.
But it's really not. It's actually two big hooks or one big hook or something like that. So having those sewing skills to be able to, sew Velcro in to a pair of pants or even a skirt, hand sewing skills such as moving that button to the front to make it false so it appears like it's functioning normally, then sewing hooks and eyes in the back. So it's a lot of practical skills too.
Okay, so Andrea, let me just ask you this. Say there are people watching this video and this is something very much they're interested in, but they have no sewing skills so where would they acquire those skills? Do they need to take a course or could they look at some YouTube videos?
Yeah, actually you can look at YouTube videos. Not everyone in Local 764 is the union that oversees film and television and live performance in New York City. So not everyone is a tailor. That's a very specialized
It's very
skill,
specific, yes.
and that's not required. Basic skills,
Basic skill.
as in knowing how everything is labeled within an inch of its life, as you can imagine. A pair of socks are labeled, a skirt is labeled, a blouse is labeled, a tank top is labeled. Everything has to have the performer's name in it, and it has to be so that you pass this on to someone else and they know exactly what this item is used for and when during the run of a live performance. You don't have a lot of time to be like, where's the blah, 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 right? You have to be very organized as a person. You want to be the kind of personality that enjoys being organized and knows where things are. You definitely want to have the kind of personality where if you have 3 or 4 actors, if one of your actors is out and you have someone replacing them, which is called a swing or a substitute actor.
Understudy, whatever.
An understudy, exactly. That you are like, oh, this person's costume is slightly different than my original guy, but I know exactly what it is. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different skill set involved, but sewing is something that you definitely want to know how to straight stitch, zigzag, hand sew that label in, sew buttons. There's countless hours of handwork during production that you need to have those skills for sure.
Yeah, because also there are emergencies that pop up, and that's why when you spoke of, I'm gonna call you Drea. I like that, Drea. Can I call you Drea? Drea?
Please.
That you should really have the basic knowledge of a sewing machine. My mother taught me how to sew when I was, I think, 10. She was an incredible seamstress, so I design clothes and stuff, so I'm very much into that. So I understand the fact that you have to have, and I'm talking to those of you watching, you have to have the basic knowledge. And you know what? If you really apply yourself, and this is something that you really want to do, it won't be that difficult to learn, but you have to want to do it. And let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Just like I have spoke about in so many of these videos, because mostly we've been talking about performers loving this business before you come into it because it's a rough business. Same thing applies to behind the scenes. Don't come into this business. It's still, the rules still apply. You have to want to do it, because just like you can get fired if you're not cutting it as an actor and you're always coming in late and all of this kind of craziness, the same can apply to you behind the scenes. So let's
timing is everything.
Timing is everything, because it's money, just like you alluded to a few minutes ago. So let's talk about the different personalities that you have to deal with. And it happens in every show. You're dealing with a bunch of actors, whether it's a small show, an ensemble of 5, or a big cast like Showboat of over 70 people. I mean, you're dealing with a multitude of characters. Talk to me about that. Help us to understand that, because Lord.
So true. What really is the best kind of personality for this job is, as you said, Vivian, working under pressure, and everyone handles pressure differently, right? Long hours, that's pressure. Endless days, working tech, waiting around, not having enough time to set up a quick change. Something suddenly happens on stage and you have to address it right away. Lots of pressure. And how you respond, knowing how you act under pressure, will help you with your fellow actors who are perhaps crying in the corner. I can't do this. My leg hurts. My heel just broke. All this kind of stuff. It is your job as a wardrobe person to basically, in a sense, without actually having a psychological degree, it is your job to help your fellow human get themselves together, get them water, help them back on stage in the best way you can. And if they cannot do it, it's your job to then communicate that to your stage manager. And say, you know what, I don't think so-and-so isn't a place that they can go on, you guys might need to talk to them.
Yes.
So you're constantly assessing the situation. You're not only assessing yourself to see, oh, I need a minute because someone's acting out. Maybe you're dealing with an actor who's maybe misbehaving, acting inappropriately. Depending on the level of inappropriateness, you are in a position where you can remove yourself and be like, ooh, I need a minute.
Yes.
And then come back and say, okay, so maybe you don't know, but I need you because I'm working with you plus 3 other people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do this, then I can't do something else for somebody else. So you need to be responsible for this part. If you're not able to do that, let me know, because we'll have to, see what we can do in this moment. So there's a lot of that goes on.
The actor, they have responsibilities too, because they can be so awful, and
it can happen,
and
it can.
they're throwing their clothes around instead of if they don't. Me, I've always had personal dressers, but sometimes a lot of the times a dresser will be dealing with 3 and 4 people that they have to dress, the ensemble, and so actors can be really bad. And I mean, we had an actor in one of the shows I did. In fact, Ellen Lee was my dresser, my personal dresser, and he was just so mean to those dressers. They literally brought him up on charges. Just like Andrea was saying, you have to be ready.
Can you do this? And can you stand up for yourself? And when you work in the ensemble, a lot of it is sort of not only basic training for you, and some people are seasoned dressers who are so good at helping new people learn the process of how do you be as an actor in live performance, which skills they take on forever. And you hope that those people will then train their fellow ensemble people. Things like hanging your costumes up after here's where you drop your laundry off. Please put your stuff in this mesh bag I'm providing for you. Please put your towels in this other basket. If you can't hang your clothes, please lie them on the back of your chair and don't leave them on the floor. And these are things that you have to teach people how to do. And do you have the kind of personality that you're not afraid to ask for that and demand it in a really nice way?
Let's talk about that. Having the personality and not being afraid. I'm talking to those of you watching. You can't be so soft-spoken and so...
No,
because when I tell you an actor will take advantage, I would not.
Yes.
But you have a lot of actors who will. So in a sense, if there comes a time where you have to be stern without being nasty, but
That's
be
right.
firm, you must do that. You are leaving your clothes on the floor when you take them off. I really need you to hang your clothes up on the hanger. I'm not here, and I'm not your personal dresser, so you need to do this.
I'm not
so
your maid.
That's even better. I'm not your maid.
I've had to say that. I've had to say that.
And we're not saying get up in their face. We're just saying you have to be firm, stern. You will get a better payoff in the end, because the minute they think, and not actors are all like this. I'm not lumping them into one big vat.
Absolutely.
But you have a few that the minute they think that you're all soft and they could run over you, they're going to do it.
They will. Some of it's just humans being humans. And when someone thinks that they can take advantage of you and you're working in the ensemble, this bizarre thing happens. A pack mentality happens, and either you have maybe a senior ensemble person there who's saying, "You cannot do that. You better hang that stuff up. I'm going to be watching you." But if you don't have that kind of situation, where you have senior ensemble people or actors who are mature, who have done this forever, they've been in the business for a long time, who will help the dressers in the room. Come on, guys, it's their job. They want to go home too. Eliminate the upstairs, downstairs feeling that often happens between, we're all there. We're there. The dressers are there to help support you. And then you're there to do your part so that we can do our job better. If we're there cleaning up after you, which is not our job to clean up after you, then something else is going to be missing. You're not going to
Yes.
get your best performance if you cheat us and yourself of doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you just how wonderful Ellen Lee was. As I said earlier, she was my
I
personal
love her.
dresser
She's great.
in one of my shows on Broadway, and she knew me so well. And that's the other thing. When you're someone's personal dresser, or even if you're not,
Hmm.
if you're dealing with 3 or 4 people, you get to know the individual personalities.
Hmm.
She knew what I liked and what I didn't like. She knew what affected me, what would upset me. Not anything that she would do, but just in general.
Yeah.
She knew if I was off somewhere in my mind thinking about something. She knew, okay, this is not the time to talk to Vivian. And so I'm gonna tell you a little story. It was just before God Bless the Child, which was my 11 o'clock number in Bubbling Brown Sugar. Now I'm about to go on now. She came up to me, just made sure, everything was, the bow tie was just right and everything. So I go out there and I sing God Bless the Child, give it all I got, which is typical Vivian Reed. And when I got off no, when the show was over, because after that came a big tap number. When the show
That
was
sounds about
over,
right.
yeah. Oh no, in the beginning they actually had it reversed.
Oof.
God Bless the Child was coming after the tap number, and it was awful. And so we reversed it because they had an oxygen tank. It was terrible.
Yeah, you were
I
like,
mean, I'm
what?
doing 32 wings and all this craziness. But anyway, after the show was over and we got back to the dressing room, she said, "Now you can look down." I said, "What?" When I looked down, the hymn was halfway out. Now, I'm going to just be straight up honest, because Ellen and I have talked about Ellen's job, any dresser's job, is to check those costumes during the show, before the show. That's what they do.
Right. That's a big part of what
And not only was the hem out and halfway of this jacket, you know how you turn a hem up to get so that you don't see the raw edges? You can
right.
see the raw edges and strings. That's basically anybody sitting in the first 3 rows saw. I knew
That's
immediately
highly
that somebody
unusual.
had done that on purpose. I knew what somebody had done it on purpose.
It sounds a little sabotagey.
I think that's exactly what Ellen and I said. There's no way. She checked my costumes all during the show, before the
Absolutely.
show.
Yeah.
There's no way
There's no
that
way.
that
Especially
slipped back her.
that's extreme. That's
That's
extreme.
extreme.
Yeah.
And so I looked at her. I said, "Oh my God," she said, "Vivian, I couldn't tell you because I know you." That's what she said. She said, "If I had told you that your hem was halfway out before you go out to sing God Bless the Child, you would not have been able to deliver that song like you normally do, because I know you. You like to look a certain way. You want everything just right, and that is me." And she made the decision not to even address the issue, even though the audience, those sitting in the first few rows, would probably see it. Because
Right.
why? There was nothing she could do.
Right. There's nothing
There
she
was
could do.
nothing she could do. She said
Yeah.
she noticed it when she was putting on my jacket.
Mm. And she knew she wasn't going to see you for like 30 minutes, probably. Yeah.
And she
You
was
know,
like, "What?" And she never let on that anything was wrong. She never let
yeah.
on.
Keep it going.
Go ahead. What were you going to say, baby?
Well, it's interesting, Vivian, that you say that because, dressing ensemble and dressing, star dressing or, personal dressing for 1 or 2 people is a different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Ensemble dressing is a bit louder, it's a bit more
Yeah.
rambunctious. You can be more stern in a different way than you are with an individual, more one-on-one.
Yes.
When you're doing what we also refer to as principal dressing, where again, like you're working with the lead perhaps, or the second tier leads of a show, you have more time for one-on-one. You get to know what that person wants, and you ask questions and they get more than what happens in the ensemble. When you're principal dressing, a lot of it is, are you the kind of person that can read the room Are you the kind of person that is like, oh, so and so needs a water break right here? So and so doesn't need to know that their hem is down until the end of the show.
Yes.
So and so, needs, a cough drop right here. And then you have a tissue, they suck on the cough drop for 3 seconds, and then they go sing their 11 o'clock number. You know what I mean? You have a conversation, you get to know that person, how much space they need, maybe at half hour, which is 30 minutes before curtain time. You're like, I'm going to be right outside in the hallway. If you need something, you let me know. And then you leave that person to themselves to do whatever it is. And a lot of that comes with not only just experience, but also, do you have that personality to be a support without being obnoxious, without trying to, I need the energy. I need, no, it's not about you. Your role is a support role to make sure that your actor can get out there in the frame of mind that they need to be on, whether it's a comedy or, a tragedy, whether they're vocalizing or not. It's important to, as you're going through this process, to just like keep your ear to the ground. How is someone who has more experience than you, how do they handle a situation? So-and-so, you can approach them and say, we got to switch out your mic next song. Okay. That happens. One thing that often happens in these kind of, principal track kind of situations is, the actor better than anybody. And then if their mic goes out, you have to tell stage management and sound, can't do it next time when they come off. They have a quick change. There's no time to do it. Can't do it the next time. They have a wig change. There's no time to do it. So then they make a decision. Can you hand them a mic? You know what I'm saying? And stage management and the other departments rely on wardrobe to know, do you have the ability to switch out that mic pack that is in between their boobs? Do you have the capability to change out that mic pack, when it's in a very indiscreet location, maybe their lower back, maybe it's in a thong, maybe it's in a dance belt for your male actor, maybe it's in a pouch. You hand the pack over to your male actor, they'll unscrew it and they'll swap it out. There's a lot of different elements that go on, and management and the sound department, everyone else relies on you to how well do you know your actor? It's a big part of our job on top of everything else.
That job period, it's so important. That's why I say it's so much more than just buttoning a shirt or zipping up a zipper. It's so much more encompassing. Also, what about terminology? Do they need to know certain words like what a gusset is and that kind of thing?
Well, the more you know, the better off you will be, right? You don't need to know tailoring situations, like I said. However, just knowing basic terminology is helpful. As you say, like a gusset, arms, eye, how are jackets finished that way, or the components of a jacket. They're basically the same for women and men. Different kinds of styles. You're talking about period costumes, you're talking about pantaloons versus, you know what I mean? So the more that you know about the different generations of costumes, that's also helpful too, because a lot of the times we're dealing with a time period and every single accessory that goes with that time period. Spamalot had a variety of different things, pantaloons and waist cinchers and, all kinds of things going on. And then another show like Great Comet had,
oh my God, that was,
well, all the guys had like 3 or 4 different belts that were used in different positions, you know what I mean? So it's anything that you can absorb in terms of costuming is just going to help. And then it's experience,
So are we saying that, okay, just let me ask this. Are there courses that you take to become a dresser /
There are now. There are now, and the union does provide for basic sewing courses, etc.
Okay.
But there are dressing courses. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, FIT has started some continuing education courses.
Because there's stage management courses too. I didn't even know that until a stage manager told me that. There's
Yeah,
stage
things are
management.
changing.
They're changing, yeah.
Yeah, things are changing now. Different unions will offer apprenticeship, mentoring kinds of courses. A lot of people, what they've done in the past, they'll maybe work in regional theater and start learning that way. On Broadway, how I started learning, I had already done regional theater, but when they take a chance on you, you usually start as a day worker, which is
So
a cost. Yeah.
stop right there, Andrea. Okay, so how did you apply for the job? Did you read that they were looking for people in some paper somewhere or online? How did you get that job? Your very first job, you said, happened in regional theater. How did you get that job?
I spent several years working at the Huntington Theater and the American Repertory Theater in Boston and Cambridge in the box office. So
in the box office?
Yeah, I was a supervisor for a while. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Continue.
So you just get to know the different parts of working at that regional theater, and my parents had their own ladies fashion business, so I was already
so
exposed.
You were, it was
I was
in your
exposed
blood.
to it.
Yeah.
I was exposed to it, and then you in regional theater, it's so much easier to meet different people in different parts of the building,
Yes.
right? So I knew the wardrobe supervisor, and I knew people in the costume department. So you just ask questions. So that's definitely one way. Hey, can I watch? Hey, can I learn? Can I be part of this?
But if it's somebody that's coming through the door and they have not had the advantage that you had, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I did have advantages.
They're just coming, they're fresh.
Right.
Fresh, they're 21, 22, 23. This is something I just have to do this. I want to do this. How do they apply? Do they go to the theater? What do they do?
So it depends on where you are in the country. In New York City, in order to go through the process, you, like I mentioned before, the union is Local 764.
You have to join?
You have to apply.
Okay.
You apply. They have a series of, prerequisites that you need, letter of recommendation, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times people will say, if you don't have a lot of experience, go to the public theater.
Okay.
And, do off Broadway and get your experience that way.
And apply there. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
that makes it. Just don't jump into the big thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. In different parts of the country, there isn't such a learning hierarchy as there is in New York City. And the reason why is that the pressure is a lot higher on Broadway.
Oh, of course.
They want you to have a base level of skills that people don't have to ask of you right from the beginning. But like I said, I check out FIT if you are in New York, because I believe that there are courses, and look locally to see if anyone has courses. Before I did regional theater, I did community theater. So if you have the ability to do community theater where someone will literally take you by the hand and show you how to do a quick change, how to set one up, how to talk to your actor about that quick change, etc., that's only going to help you as you move up.
I know you got some stories, but I just thought of one while you were talking. I was doing a movie with a very famous actress, Catherine Deneuve, who is French, and I was living in France at the time in Philippe Noiret, and so we were on location in Africa. It was called L'Africaine. So I packed my suitcase, nothing but designer clothes. I had my Charles Jourdain shoes. I had all of this. And Catherine was already there. She had been there maybe a couple of weeks before I arrived. So when our dressing, we shared the same dresser. Oh, and I'm going to point out something while I'm telling this little story about the dresser, because she knew to tell me that Catherine just she doesn't like to dress in front of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Oh, no problem. I'll go." And I went somewhere, until I figured she was dressed and blah blah blah. But so that was great. But wait a minute. So now she's unpacking my suitcase. Not really unpacking. She opens up the suitcase because she's intending to unpack the suitcase for me. She took a look, and she looked at me, and she said, "You're going to have to go shopping." I said, "Why?"
What?
She says, "You don't have the appropriate attire here, the appropriate clothes here." I said, "But they're all fabulous. They're all fabulous clothes." She said, "Okay, do you know the movie Tarzan?"
Oh.
And that did it. I said, "Say no more." And we had to go shopping for khakis, for all kinds of stuff that I just didn't have. I don't know what I was thinking when I packed that bag, because I knew I was going to Africa. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, and we were going to be in some remote place.
Fashion
But yeah,
show with a
no,
lion.
she was amazing. Just she saw it. "No, honey, you're gonna have to go shopping." I'm not, and she didn't. And the suitcase was never unpacked until toward the end of my stay there. And I just went out maybe to have a drink, and so I picked something out of the suitcase and some heels and stuff like that. But I was also stayed inside the hotel where we went to the bar inside the hotel. But just her saying, "Catherine doesn't like to see," these are the kind of things. So I know, Andrea, give me some stories, girl. I know you got some stories.
Oh, let me tell
Give me
you
one or
how.
two.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me tell you how I met Daniel Craig. That was fun.
Okay.
So I've been working with Anne Roth on several. She's a costume designer on several
Oh,
shows.
yes.
She's wonderful.
Yes, she is.
And this is how my Daniel Craig interview went. We went in, and it was at a really well-known men's tailoring shop. So I went there, and Daniel and the tailor looking over things, blah blah blah. I introduced myself. "Very nice to meet you, so and so, la la la." Sat down, had a couple of words, and then Anne's like, "Oh, we should start this fitting." Okay, cool. So I thought, all right, so he'll think about it. We had a couple moments, and I'll find out what's going to happen later. No problem. And then she said to her assistant, Matthew, "Give Andrea this shirt." And I'm just kind of like, I'm like about to get my bag and go, right? Daniel's in the fitting room. And Matthew's just like, "Anne wants you to take this shirt and put it on Daniel." I was like, "What?
What?
What do you want me to do?" Go in. So he pushes me into the fitting room with the shirt. Beautiful shirt, custom made, like, woo, oh my gosh. It was a French cuff, the whole deal.
Yeah, the whole deal.
So into the fitting room, literally shoved in there. I'm like, The interview continued as I'm helping him do the fitting on the spot without them telling me that this
What to
was going
do?
to happen.
Yeah. Oh.
Right? And I was just
Do you
like,
think they were
okay.
just testing you, maybe, to see how you would do?
We had a really good rapport, Anne and I. We had worked together so many times,
Okay.
and she was
Then
just
why do
like,
you think she did it like that? What do you?
She just wanted me to have the job.
Oh, great.
She was
Okay.
just like, go in there and show him how cool you are. And I'm
Girl,
just
did
like,
you go in there and
giving me a
charm him,
warning.
honey? What did you do? I know you went in there and.
Okay, so in the end, I did get the job. But I was not prepared for him to be, he's in a fitting, so he had his shirt off. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
So I go in and I was just like, oh, so they want me to try this shirt on you. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, don't be stupid. Don't say anything dumb. We put the shirt on. And then as I'm looking at it, I hadn't looked at the shirt ever in my life until that moment. I see, oh, it's French cuffs. Huh. I'm looking around the fitting room like, I'm behind him going, where are the French cuffs? How am I going to put these? Where is everything? Right. So part of your job is like on the fly.
Yes, you had to do it.
Where's this?
Yeah.
All the things that you know you're
Oh
going to need for this
God,
moment. No
what
French
did you
cuffs.
do?
So I was just like, just a second. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to go through the curtain and I see this hand stick out with 2 French cuffs there.
Oh,
And
good.
I just took them and he's just like, oh, I need cuffs. He just turned around and looked at his, and I was just like, have them right here.
Ah, girl, all right, honey, you did that job.
Oh, this looks great. Oh, and another hand, trousers. Oh, here you go. I'm like, you guys are killing me out there. You could have at least given me a warning.
Wow, that's a fabulous story. That
It
is
was,
a
we
fabulous
had a great
story.
time. We had a great time, but that's the kind, you got to go with the flow. So if you're the kind
Yes.
of person that can just literally be under fire right in the moment, calm under pressure, and also right at the same time, I was reading him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I gave him the time to talk. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't talking too much. So I was just like, sir, you're sure? And, very polite.
Yes.
Then as soon as he was starting to come out, then I would ask questions. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you spend time with someone like that, or anybody really, just kind of like let that person tell you who they are. And
Yes.
then you kind of go, okay, so they're like this, they need a little of that. Someone maybe needs more attention, someone needs a little bit less attention. But
Yes.
also know yourself too, know what you
Mm-hmm.
can do, and then say, I can't do this now, but I can do this later. Is this a good
Mm-hmm.
time for you? You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're an ensemble person and you have so many things that you're juggling, you can't do it all. You can do your
Mm-hmm.
best, but also it's important to know to say, I can't do this for you right here, but I can do this other thing. How does that
Mm-hmm.
work for you?
Yes.
So, yeah, that
And
was
if an
my
actor is
interview.
acting really crazy, crazy,
Hmm.
crazy, crazy, crazy,
Step out of the room and
you
close the
well,
door.
yeah, but I mean, if it continues, you would
Hmm.
go to the stage manager. Is that
Yes,
what
that's
you would
right.
do?
Yeah,
Okay,
you would go to your supervisor.
go to
And
supervisor.
yeah,
Okay,
you go to supervisor first,
first.
and then say, hey, so and so is acting out, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll be like, huh, and they'll ask you what the circumstances was, how to maybe see if it was blah blah blah. Was it not personal? Was something going on, and this and that? And then if it continues, then the supervisor will either decide they'll go and speak to that person, or it'll go to
Mm-hmm.
stage management.
Go to
You
stage
always want
management.
to
Okay.
give your supervisor the respect that's due to them
Yes.
in the department, and you need to be the kind of person saying, you know what, I don't know what's going on, but I know it's not
Mm-hmm.
me. I need your
Mm-hmm.
help
Yes.
to kind of like assess the situation. Like, what am I supposed to
Yes.
do here? Don't be afraid to ask questions. We're
Mm-hmm.
the biggest part about wardrobe is that you're part of a team. You're
Mm-hmm.
a team within the wardrobe department as well with your fellow dressers, but you're also a team backstage. You're
Mm-hmm.
there to help everyone, help get the show up. You're there to get the actor out there doing their best. You're there to help and support your fellow music department, the electrics guy, the props person. Where's that prop? It's missing. I keep losing track of this prop. How
Mm-hmm.
can we figure this out? So you're not only problem solving with your actor or with a problem with a costume. This quick change rigging doesn't work for me for whatever reason. You know what I mean? It's too slow. It's the wrong hardware. We need to figure out something else. I need help. Maybe a second person needs to come in here and help. You know what I mean?
This has been such a great, great conversation. And to those of you watching, you know what? Not everybody can be on the stage. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who want to sing, who want to dance, who want to act, and maybe you don't have the talent for that. But if you want to be close to show business, this is another area. You know
Definitely
that you
another
can
area.
function and still see great or hear great performances and get involved. But here again, I just
So many cool avenues when you're working in
yes,
wardrobe. Like I ended up doing Rod Stewart stuff, and then I happened to do the Police, their final concert at Madison Square
yes.
Garden, and it was all a series of just because your name gets out there and your skills are known. If you're a bad actor, that
Hmm.
gets people will talk about that. So not
Yep,
only will wardrobe people tell you, that happens all the time.
all the time.
I have a friend who's a hairdresser, who's on a show right now, and he told me who he was working with, a whole list of people who I know because of my experience. Either I knew them directly or I knew directly someone that worked with them. And I said, oh, this person has a great reputation. You're going to have a great time. And this other person I worked directly with, they were lovely. Mm-hmm. So your name gets out there both ways. Both ways, whether or not you're in front of the camera or on stage or not. And people will turn down jobs if you don't have a good reputation. So
that's true.
Know that.
So anyway, thank you so much, Andrea, for doing this, and you have given us so much advice. And I hope any of you guys watching, that if you have a passion and you think this is something that you want to do and that you could enjoy doing, definitely go out there but first, learn basic sewing skills. Learn how to thread that needle and learn a bit about a sewing machine, because these are all things that come into play in this particular job. Andrea Gonzalez, girl, you're fabulous.
Thank you, Vivian. I had fun. This was great.
Oh, good. And to those of you who have watched this video, thank you so much for watching. And there's always videos about show business, so just, keep checking them out on the Vivian Reed channel. And don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like. See you next time. Wave, Andrea. Bye.
Bye.